Okay, so this is my video response to a header's video talking about if we should trust YouTubers. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go on YouTube and look up fellow filmmaker, and you will see one of her most recent videos um, that she did where she was talking about, YouTubers receiving like free gifts from companies and should we trust them? And does it really make a difference when they say the disclaimer in the beginning of the video? Now, this is totally unscripted. And to be honest, I have already postponed this video way too many times. Like I was supposed to do it earlier, but I kept pushing it back because I really wanted to have like a professional setting and do it really nice. And it got in the way and I never really got to sit down and make the video. But now, like, I just decided to just shoot it on my phone because, like, the most important part for me is really to kind of speak my mind on the topic and get the video out there. So this is gonna be the setup, and again, it's not scripted, so bear with me if it just gets a little bit all over the place. Okay, so what I wanted to say, I wanted to start by saying that and also another disclaimer that I want to say, like I'm not saying that my opinion is the best opinion or is the absolute truth. I'm just a viewer that is just sharing his opinion and his point of view, and just my perspective on the topic. So how I feel is that I just think that this, like the disclaimer, like like when the YouTubers feel the need to say that um I received this item for free, but the opinion is 100% my opinion, and the company gets to see it at the same time as you see it, so they don't get to see it in advance, blah 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 blah. So what I think is that I think that kind of like everything, well, not everything, but a lot of other things on the internet and this social media culture. I just think that a lot of people started saying that just because at some point somebody said it and they kind of felt like it was clever and it made a lot of sense. So, of course, um, in this social media era that we live in, like we tend to kind of like support or copy like a lot of things that we feel like are cleverly said, or like it kind of feels like the person is a little bit more intelligent than us or something like that. I'm not saying that it's exactly that for everybody, but I just think that um, when you think of it, like when you think of it a little more, aside from the fact that it's a really well said sentence, I kind of feel like it's outdated. It kind of expired. I feel like at some point YouTubers started the need to say it, of course, because of maybe how people were reacting in the comments. But I feel like nowadays, like I don't really need to hear that in the beginning of a video anymore, because it's kind of okay. Now we established that at least for me, okay, because again, I'm a viewer, and I feel like we kind of got this established that okay, there is this relationship between reviewers, YouTubers, and the companies where they would send them a product for them to do a review, right? And some of these companies just let them keep the product, and some of them, in some other cases, they just loan the product to them. So for example, if Sony releases a new camera, they might send it to, let's say, Gerald London, for example, and let him have it, let's say, for a week or two just to do a review, and then after that he has to return it, right? And there are certain other cases where, let's say, for example, Aperture would send him a light and then he would get to keep it, right? So I definitely think it's still relevant to say, for example, if you don't get to keep it. So for example, if you only get it for 2 weeks, for example, for you to do a review, you can just say, okay, yes, they did send it to me, but I didn't get to keep it, right? But at the end of the day, like Heather mentioned it, that does it really change anything? Personally, I don't think it changes anything when you say that, because the truth is that even though like it's an exchange of service, like you kind of take your time to do the review and the company sends it to you, it's almost as if kind of you paid for it, yes. But at the end of the day, if we're keeping it real, like we do know it's a privilege, right? When a company sends you something and you get to keep it. I'm really talking about when you get to keep the item here. And also just the fact that a company trusts you enough to kind of either reach out to you or, send you their product, for somebody that's beginning, for example, myself, like I've been watching YouTube videos and, like I've experimented like a lot of different um, products in my videography career, and I do think that I have a good general idea of the market and what to recommend to people, right? But at the end of the day, even if I started doing a channel, making reviews and talking about tech and things like that, of course, I think even one of your previous videos, you did mention that, like companies will look at what you do, they look at your quality, they look at the number of viewers, and they would estimate if they want, if they trust you enough to send you, their products, right? So they're not necessarily just gonna send it to everybody and anybody. So oftentimes, like when we start a new channel and we get to this point where a company trusts us, it's kind of an achievement for us, so it's kind of a privilege for us. So of course I definitely think that it's gonna bias certain things. If you just start working with companies and this YouTube thing just starts working for you and companies starting to trust you, and basically your goal is to eventually have like start doing it full time, I'm sure that every company that reach out to you that sends you product, you're not just gonna trash on their product, right? And of course, companies are businesses, right? And they're looking to make money. So of course, before they send you a product, they're gonna see if first of all you have enough followers, like there's enough people that you're gonna influence to buy it. But also the end goal is basically for you to influence people to buy it. So of course, knowing that as a small creator, if you start getting companies, you start working with companies, of course you're not going to want to just trash every product and then companies feel like, okay, this YouTuber, like there's no point in sending them my product because this person is known for trashing products and just not recommending it. So eventually it might not be profitable for the company. And so like of course you're gonna try to say the positive or stick to the positive eventually, or do like something that shows value to companies, like if they work with you. For example, I'm gonna mention Gerald and Dunn a lot because I follow him a lot, but like for example, companies have all the interest in the world to kind of deal with a guy like that, because they feel like he really goes in depth. He really highlights the features and pull out the numbers and do the test to highlight the features of something, versus somebody else that is just keeps it to their personal feelings and their personal emotions and be like, I don't really like this light, it's kind of too light, it's kind of like I don't know, like it's not compact enough. But companies, like if you pay attention, like in their advertisement, they really want you to focus on features, the features that they want you to focus on. So if, let's say for example, they have the brightest light, all their marketing is going to be around this particular feature. Oh, this amount of lux compared to the aperture, we have 20% more brightness, for example. So they really want you to highlight the achievements, like the things that they do better, and not just be like, I don't like the build quality, I don't like that it's not big enough, like. So there's a lot of like as a YouTuber, like there's a lot of you know um ways that you can show value to these companies, in in the way that you present their products. So of course it's not necessarily like, oh, I don't owe you anything, like because I'm already making a video, so like I could say anything and I can just trash it, you know. So to me it's kind of like you just saying that like, you know, like, okay, like I received it for free, but you know, kind of like making it seem as if like you're not obligated to say anything positive. Well, yeah, like I do believe that YouTubers want to protect their relationships, and they're not necessarily gonna just jump on, you know, talking trash about things. They're gonna highlight, you know, their good features and try to talk about it. And even if they bring up something negative, they're not, you know, gonna completely, you know, you know, make it really bad, you know. So yeah, like and again, like the reason why I say like it's kind of outdated, it's because like, yeah, like nowadays, like I feel like people already have this established kind of like, okay, there is this relationship, and yeah, you know, but at the end of the day, as long as you're fair, as long as you're saying the truth, I think it's gonna show in your video, right? So let's say, for example, if you like, I remember I used to watch Madi Apoya, and at some point, like I just hated his videos, you know, and I unsubscribed to his channel because I felt like to me, that's my personal experience. I felt like he was not really giving a fair chance to like the brands that he doesn't really know or doesn't really like, you know. Because at the end of the day, you know, let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. I remember he did like a video review of the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, I think, something like that. And I'm like, for all, and you know, like I'm not even Blackmagic, you know, like I'm not a Blackmagic shooter. And you know, I just imagine me in the position of this company, right? For all the amazing achievement that they were able to pack in this camera. And nowadays, with the rise of DaVinci Resolve and everything, you see even London, by the way, um, everybody's kind of realizing the potential of, you know, not only Resolve but also, you know, Blackmagic cameras. And you know, everybody's kind of paying more attention to them now. But it's kind of like at the time, like for all the achievements, the b-roll, the frame rates, you know, the image quality, you know, like all the potential that this camera has, like the way that he reviewed the camera, and the way that, you know, his bias for Canon cameras was so obvious. He was talking about how light the camera was. What does that have to do? Like, you're a filmmaker. Who cares about how light the camera is, you know? And the thing he was emphasizing on, anyways, it really made me feel uncomfortable because I was like, okay, this is not objective, you know? And even if it might have been objective, but this is really from his perspective and his needs, you know? But like a real professional that really needs, like, I don't know, 10-bit colors, the raw capacity of these cameras, like all of the great features, all of the amazing things that are about this camera, and you're still focusing on the fact that the body is plastic, or it's light, or the shape of the camera is weird, or it doesn't have ibis. So I kind of felt like, again, for what he does, maybe these are all valid points, but I just didn't feel like I related to, you know, his content at this level, you know, just because, like, I don't know. So all of this to say that I do think that, you know, at this point in time, we kind of have this established. And as long as, you know, this kind of bias is not obvious in your reviews, where you're kind of like, oh my god, this is so amazing, you need to go and buy it right now, when it's kind of obvious that the product is not so great, or the opposite is also true. If the product is obviously so great and you're not talking about all the great sides and you're really focusing on the bad sides, as long as you're fair, like, I don't feel that it's so important to say it, because at the end of the day, like you said, like, it's easy to say trust me, but it's really your actions and the way that you present yourself that is going to make people feel that they can trust you. Like, I think that when you watch a Gerald Undone video, when he gives you the numbers, he gives you the tests, he shows you his methods, he shows you the results. Like, if you still feel like he's getting paid, I'm sorry, like, that's more of, it's obviously a problem with you. So I don't really feel that he needs to say that anymore in the beginning of his videos. Of course, at this level, we're talking about another level here, because eventually, like, if you're receiving like free cameras, free things, like, so, like, I don't know. But, like, to me, it's kind of like, yeah, like, people just keep saying it because, like, it's really cool. But if you give it a little more thought, it's kind of like it really doesn't make any difference, and it really doesn't even make sense, to be honest, because, like, I definitely think that even if you receive something for free and the company doesn't ask you to say something, of course it's still really valuable to try to protect these relationships. And of course, like, if you're a small YouTuber, you're gonna want to protect these relationships and not say the bad thing. And me personally, like, I do think that a product is good. Even if it's not good for everybody, it's gonna have people that it's good for. So as long as you try to be objective and say, okay, this is the kind of use that I see that somebody can take advantage of this product. But for this kind of use, maybe if you're doing this with it, maybe it's not the best in this category. For example, a light, you can say, okay, maybe this light is not really bright, it's definitely not bright, or maybe at this price there's other alternative. But if you need this, if you need something that is compact or something like that, so, like, you kind of really say the good and the bad, who is for and who it may not be for. I think that why would somebody, like, say that, okay, you're biased or you're getting paid to say that, as long as you keep it fair. Like, it doesn't really matter what you say in the beginning of the video. It really matters, it's just, is it fair? And if it's fair, like, people are gonna feel it. Of course, there are gonna be, like, the fanboys, and what can you do about that, right? But as long as you keep it fair and you present the facts, I really don't think that, like, it's really just awkward, And at the end of the day, me personally, as a viewer, I just think that I kind of get used to it, used to people saying it, so I really don't really pay attention to it. But if I really had to give my opinion about it, like, it's cheesy and it doesn't really make sense, because we kind of know the truth, and the truth is obvious. Nobody would want to ruin their relationship with a company. So you saying it's easy to say, but, like, it still doesn't mean that you're not going to be biased. So yeah, so this is my opinion. I don't really think people need to say it. They just need to keep on making fair reviews. And if it's not fair, everybody's going to feel it, you know? And, it doesn't really matter what you say in the beginning or not. So yeah, that's my opinion. And I'm really happy I finally made the video. It's maybe a little long, but yeah, that's it. So thank you. Have a good day.